Good evening and welcome, citizens of Douglas County. The July 22nd, 2025 will come to order. The Douglas County Board of Commissioners will come to order. County Clerk, please take the roll for the record.
Yes, ma'am. District 1 Commissioner Henry Mitchell.
Present.
District 2 Commissioner Whitney Kenner Jones.
Present.
District 3 Commissioner Martin Raxton.
Present.
District 4 Commissioner Vice Chair Mark Alcaraz.
Present.
Chairman Dr. Ramona Jackson Jones.
Present. Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Board of Commissioners and citizens of Douglas County, we are pleased to have with us this evening Reverend Lakita Ferguson to lead us in our invocation. Please stand for the invocation, and after the invocation, please join us for the pledge to the flag.
Let us go before the throne of grace. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening, seeking your presence and your guidance. Lord God, we ask that you would be with us in this hour. For whatever it is that is to be discussed on the itinerary, dear God, we ask that you would speak to the hearts of each and every person. I ask that you would speak to the council committees here this evening, Lord God, granting their heads with wisdom and knowledge. And I pray that the words that we speak are those words of truth and those of compassion and discernment. Whatever it is that your will shall be, it shall be done. Lord, I pray for the citizens here of Douglas County. I pray that the decisions that are made for all, which will be beneficial to all the residents, dear God. Lord, I pray for this nation and the nations abroad. I ask that you would continue to keep watch over each and every one of us, dear Lord. I ask that every need be provided, and I ask that you would just continue to cover the county of Douglasville, Lord God, knowing that we are not exempt from those things that we see and have seen on television, those catastrophic occurrences. Continue to bless each and every one of us, dear God, that's under the sound of my voice. Dear God, we just ask that you would be with us in this hour of judgment. In Jesus' name we pray, amen?
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Pastor Ferguson. We appreciate you gracing our county tonight with prayer. And with that being said, Board of Commissioners, certainly I'm going to yield the floor to the clerk to see if anyone signed up for public comment tonight.
Yes, ma'am. We did have someone sign up, but before I call you up, I'll just remind you when you reach the podium to state your name and your subject matter, and you'll have 3 minutes to address the board. Once your 3 minutes are up, we'll ask you to wrap up your comments. Julie Clark.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Julie Clark, 4627 Crooked Creek Lane, Villarica, Georgia. I'm here on the topic of the audit contract with Malden and Jenkins. First, I'd like to thank Keener Jones and Braxton for questioning the audit and the county's financials. I think that a lot of financial issues are being addressed behind closed doors and not being brought to the public and oftentimes to the commissioners. I noticed when watching part of the work session yesterday that CFO O'Shea wanted to discuss things offline. This to me says that you have no clue what you were hired to do, lying or just trying to cover up something. O'Shea also states that he has had a large turnover which is causing the delay in completing the 24 audit. That turnover started in May 2024 when I personally left finance after 14 years because Terminus Municipal Advisors and CFO O'Shea continued to push off duties that were supposed to be performed by management positions, but instead of holding these positions accountable for not doing their job duties, they pushed the duties onto others. Administration did not do anything to address these issues because administration was and is David Corbin, Terminus Municipal Advisors. They do not care about employees that have tenure with the county or who goes above and beyond to make things happen. So this caused chain reaction in the finance department, and they lost 5 out of the original 8 employees that were in finance when Terminus took over in 2021. All these employees having 12, 14, 18, and 20 years of experience. Now finance has a staff of 16, which all have new position titles, higher salaries, the department budget has doubled, and they still contract Rosalind Miller with Terminus Municipal Advisors at a rate of $13,000 a month. I'd like to know what the percentage of the audit that is completed and not returned are being tested. I know that you can reference back and see the amount that was submitted and approved by the other audits and the dates that everything was done and what was missing. Again, there are records of everything that I'm addressing to you tonight. I think that the Board of Commissioners needs to take a deeper look at their consulting firm, Terminus Municipal Advisors, County Administrator David Corbin, whose company has been managing the finances since 2021. Ever since they have been overseeing the financials, the county has had to file extensions on every audit, and now the county is no longer allowed to request extensions because we have met the limit and listed as non-compliant until we start submitting on time again. David Corbin was aware every time an extension was requested. He was aware every time Malden and Jenkins requested a meeting. He also had an amendment to Terminus's contract in 23 for extra money for his employees to come work on completing the audit, but again failed to complete the audit on time. There are multiple emails that can be retrieved through open records stating all of this information. I really hope that the Commissioner Raxton gets the opportunity to speak with Malden and Jenkins. I think he may want to request them to come present the last findings on the previous audits and see what areas need to be addressed, such as failing to adopt and operate under a balanced budget and special revenue funds. As I recall, last year the Board of Commissioners voted on a 2025 budget without seeing any revenues. So I hope this year you will question the revenues from coming from offset expenditures and not going off Terminus saying it's a balanced budget. Questions that I'd like to know, and we'll be glad to do open records, but that's another issue in itself. Seems to be a problem for asking for things that might be in question, or even though you give specific instructions on how to pull it, it doesn't get fulfilled. Why are we still paying Terminus for the extra amount of $13,000 a month when finance has a staff of 16, a CFO, a deputy, and several management positions? What is outstanding on the auditor's list? Where do we stand financially as of today with all the dues you do from?
Mrs. Clark, can you just wrap it up?
Yeah, that's fine. I just think you should ask where we are at as our cash balance, not fund balance with asset. And, you know, again, why is David Corbin's contract not like all the other county employee contracts? We're just paying Terminus Municipal Advisors. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Clark. We certainly will take this matter under advisement. Thank you so much. And we appreciate you coming to us tonight. Madam Clerk, anyone else?
No, ma'am.
All right. With that being said, Commissioners, are there any changes that need to be made to the agenda tonight? Any changes?
Yes, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
All right, Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. I would ask that items number 7, 12, and 17 from the consent agenda be pulled to business items. Just had a couple quick questions on all three of those.
7. Could you repeat that?
Sure,
Commissioner?
7, 12, and 17.
Okay. Would you like to call the motion to have those?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a
Point of order,
motion.
Madam Chair.
Okay.
What's that?
Commissioner
So-
Mitchell?
But I thought our policy states that this has to be done the day before, I thought we created. So I think this has to stay on the agenda as is, based on our recent policy that we created.
Yeah, we
Okay.
did.
All right, thank you. I yield.
Yeah, you remember we had a policy that we created that we not remove items the day of. Do you remember the policy?
I remember the policy, but I thought we still at this meeting had the opportunity if two commissioners, or if the majority of the commissioners voted to have an item to be moved from consent agenda to new business, that could still be done.
Madam
And I'll
County
ask some
Attorney, if you could weigh in.
attorney
We'll,
to
we'll
weigh in.
have just a moment to pull and see if there was, as I recall, the last I recall from memory, there was a discussion around the consent agenda, but I don't believe any motion passed with respect to the consent agenda discussion. So if that is the case, then it would be appropriate to do that by motion on the floor, and you all could discuss. But give us one moment, and we'll just confirm.
Okay.
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 If you could just give her a moment, please. Thank you so much, Madam County Attorney. While she's looking, I'm going to move on around some other things that I think we could all participate in,
fine.
Board.
Absolutely.
Okay, with that being said, Board, I'm going to continue while they're researching for us. Board of Commissioners, just if you could, just be mindful that you have 3 minutes to make remarks with the 2-minute rebuttal tonight. Also, next we'll move to the approval of the minutes. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. You have the minutes of the commission meeting of July 8th, 2025, the work session minutes of July 7th, 2025, and the executive session minutes of July 7th, 2025. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion, Board? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your electronic votes.
Passed 5-0.
Okay, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries, Board. All right, with that being said, I'm just going to hold up because it moves right into with the next item, which is the consent agenda, I believe. Let me see if there's anything else.
Financial report.
Oh, we have some
It's a financial-
proclamations.
yes,
We
a
have quite a
financial
bit. We
report.
can keep moving.
Yes.
All right, Board of Commissioners, tonight we have with us and before us a proclamation. And Clerk, you didn't put it on here, so I'm going to wing it. We have a proclamation proclaiming the month of July 2025 as Uterine Fibroid Awareness Month in Douglas County. And that proclamation will be read, but we have a treat tonight by our own Commissioner Whitney Kenner-Jones. She will read the proclamation. Commissioner Whitney Kenner-Jones, you have the floor.
Yes, and while I come down to the podium, if communications could play the video.
Yes.
How many people know about the White Dress Project?
The White Dress Project is a nonprofit advocacy group dedicated to raising awareness of uterine fibroids and the impact of this serious medical condition on women around the world.
I'm Tanika Gray Valbrun, and I am the founder of the White Dress Project, and I turned my pain into a movement.
It's a movement powered by empowering women with fibroids, endometriosis, polycystic ovary syndrome, and various reproductive health concerns.
So the white dress came about because I could never wear white. Because of the symptoms of fibroids, you always have heavy bleeding, heavy abdominal bloating, so you just never feel comfortable wearing white. And you know, while it may seem something simple, you know, it proved to me how I had sacrificed my quality of life.
All that tiredness you're feeling, all that constantly having to use the restroom that you're feeling, that excessive bleeding that you're having, the constipation that you're having, all of that is linked to fibroids.
90% of Black women and 70% of white women will be diagnosed with fibroids by the age of 50.
When I found out I had fibroids, it was too late and I had to have surgery, but I had no idea that my mother, my granny, and everybody else happened too back in the day, and they had to go through surgery as well, so we would have talked about it before. Maybe it could have prevented me from having to get my stomach cut open.
The White Dress Project hosts countless events, including Dialogue with the Doctors, Taboo Talks, and The Night in White, which is a celebration of this supportive and healing community.
Tonight is about so much, y'all. It is about our health, both mental and physical. It's about our overall well-being.
The White Dress Project is also pushing policy change at the state and federal levels, including the Stephanie Tubbs Jones Uterine Fibroid Research and Education Act, which will provide $150 million to the National Institute of Health to address the fibroids public health crisis.
Our health care is American health care, and until Black women's health is centered in the health care of our nation, we will continue to see the disparities.
The White Dress Project movement continues to grow as we raise awareness of research, treatment options, and empowering patients so that they can be their best advocate.
Just say it's empowering to know, to learn about our bodies.
I've just been blown away by everything I've learned from White Dress Project.
We are all about empowering women with fibroids to be fearless,
Let's be clear. When you have fibroids, you don't feel comfortable wearing white. But we use it as a symbol of hope and a symbol of empowerment, that together we will get through this.
And Madam Chair, if I may take a moment of privilege, because introducing Tanika Gray Valburn is a personal achievement for me. She's actually a resident of District 2 also, but she goes not just around the country, but around the world, spreading awareness about this significant issue for women's health. And I know that you, with your healthcare background as well as your commitment to mental health, really are passionate about this as well, because I don't think that people make the connection often enough between your mental health and wellness and when you are suffering from a chronic illness or a disease, and that is what fibroids are. It's a chronic illness that so many women are touched by. So I'm thankful to have a nonprofit like the White Dress Project, who is led by, again, a District 2 resident that's going really to change the world. She recently was in Washington, D.C. this past week with actress Lupita Nyong'o, as well as several other fibroid advocates, negotiating and advocating for significantly more funding from a federal level, that I'm hoping some of those dollars will trickle down to Douglas County to make sure that we are able to address the significant health issue that impacts so many women in our community. So with that being said, Tanika, if you'd come up, I'd like to present this proclamation to you. It reads, Uterine Fibroid Month. Whereas the Douglas County Board of Commissioners seeks to foster the health and well-being of its citizens and engage in a conscientious commitment to advancing women's health. And whereas uterine fibroids, clinically known as uterine leiomyoma, are the most common benign tumors in the uterus, and whereas 3 out of 4 women will have uterine fibroids during their lives, and 1 in 4 women will experience symptoms severe enough to require medical intervention. And whereas fibroids affect up to 80% of women by the age of 50, and whereas 10 million to 21 million women suffer from fibroids in the United States, and whereas fibroids affect Black women at a higher rate than any other ethnic group experiencing them, at an incidence of 3 to 5 times higher than the general population, and whereas symptoms of uterine fibroids often include heavy bleeding, abdominal, lower back, pelvic pain, intercourse pain, enlargement of the lower abdomen, frequent urination, anemia, prolonged menstrual cycle, complications during pregnancy, lack of fertility, and miscarriage. And whereas in the United States, uterine fibroids are the leading cause of hysterectomy or permanent removal of the uterus, and therefore loss of reproductive potential. Nearly half of all hysterectomies performed are done to address uterine fibroids. And whereas, according to the National Uterine Fibroid Foundation, Georgia ranks 9th highest state to perform hysterectomies. And whereas, establishment of health seminars, funding opportunities, medical information panels, and programs for all community populations would serve to empower, inform all groups about this health crisis, so that faster diagnoses, more research, better treatment options, and eventually a cure may arise regarding uterine fibroids. Now, therefore, we, the Douglas County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of July as Uterine Fibroid Month in Douglas County, and resolve to bring awareness and national exposure to the uterine fibroid conditions. So proclaim this 22nd day of July 2025. As signed by Dr. Ramona Jackson Jones, Chairwoman of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners, District 1 Commissioner Henry Mitchell, District 2 Commissioner Whitney Kenner Jones, District 3 Commissioner Martin Raxton, and District 4 Commissioner Mark Alcarez. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Kenner Jones. It is my true honor to be here this afternoon. Good afternoon to our Douglas County Board of Commissioners, my sorors of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, supporters of the White Dress Project, community members, and my husband and my son. So excited to say that. My name is Tanika Gray Valbrun, and I am deeply honored to stand before you today to receive this proclamation recognizing July as Fibroid Awareness Month here in Douglas County.
This moment is deeply personal. My journey with uterine fibroids has been long, it has been painful, and at times very isolating. But it was through that struggle that I found purpose, and in 2014, I founded the White Dress Project after having 27 fibroids removed. I wanted to ensure that no one navigating fibroids would have to do so alone, because many times it is an isolating feeling. When you have symptomatic fibroids, you never feel comfortable wearing any white clothing or anything light colored for that matter because of the heavy bleeding, the pain, bloating associated with fibroids. What began as a small movement in my kitchen has grown into a global sisterhood of over 100,000 community members, all united by the belief that our pain is real, our voices matter, and our health deserves priority. We have had the opportunity to appear on national media, participate in President Biden's Women's Health Council. Just this past week, as Commissioner Kenna Jones mentioned, I was on Capitol Hill advocating with Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, who is the co-sponsor of this bill, and actress Lupita Nyong'o, who also shared that she had 35 fibroids removed in 2014, the same year that she won the Academy Award for her role in Black Panther. This year, our organization will proudly celebrate 11 years of advocacy, awareness, and education, and I'm very proud of that. This July, I'm celebrating not just as the founder of this organization, but as a mother. After years of infertility, 10 years to be exact, 10 years of not knowing if I would be a mother, and knowing that it was my greatest desire. Uncertainty, countless procedures. This year, on February 10th, 2025, I was blessed to welcome my son, Josiah, who is here with me today. He is a daily reminder of why this work is so necessary, not only for our daughters, our sisters, and for every generation to come. I will absolutely teach him how to advocate for women's health and for his mother. So I will pause with that. Thank you, Douglas County, for helping us continue to, thank you so much, Sora, for helping us continue to raise awareness, to spark change, and make space for healing. Special thank you to Commissioner Kenna Jones for your love, your continued support, and just a point of personal privilege. In October 2022, I had a miscarriage, and I didn't know if I would ever be a mother. And Commissioner Jones brought me a box filled with all things around motherhood and gave it to me and said that I want you to hold these things near to your heart because I absolutely know that one day you will be a mother. So I'm not only proud to be her constituent, but I'm proud to be her friend and proud that we had this opportunity today for her to present and sponsor this legislation. Thank you to the Douglas County Board of Commissions for your support.
If you could just still just remain standing and bring the gift of Josiah up and your husband. Just come on up. Yeah, see what? And your husband. Oh, Josiah, come say hello to us. Oh, he is so amazing.
And Josiah means God's gift.
Absolutely, yes.
Wonderful.
Hi, Josiah. He is absolutely right. Board of Commissioners, let's stand and give a standing ovation for this event. Oh, this is amazing. Hey, Josiah. Well, another touching moment. Certainly, miracles do happen, and look what happened. Amazing. Certainly, I've been on the other end of, in the operating room with surgeons when we perform myomectomies to remove portions of the uterus related to fibroids, and we've been pretty successful. But today I have an opportunity to witness what success is about. And you said you had 27 fibroids removed. And so, see what happens? It's all good. So I want to say that. And Board of Commissioners, we certainly have a call for a motion, and then allow each of you, if you would like to share some words, you can do that. Madam Clerk, I'm going to call the motion. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve this amazing and wonderful, miraculous proclamation proclaiming the month of July 2025 as Uterine Fibroid Awareness Month in Douglas County?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have 2 seconds. We have a motion and 2 seconds. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? Okay, Commissioner, well, Vice Chair Alcaraz, you have the floor.
She promised me she wasn't going to cry.
That's why I had to talk first.
So I figured I would go ahead and give her a moment to get together there. But my wife and I went through this last year. So a 16-centimeter fibroid on hers, and we didn't know if it's cancerous or not, but thank God it was not, but she had to go through the hysterectomy, so we've been there. And I've watched her go through this with the pain. So, but God is good. He's good all the time.
All the time.
And that's just a perfect example of that beautiful little blessing you brought up for us.
Yes.
I yield back, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you so much, Vice Chair Alcaraz. Any other comment? All right, Commissioner Martin Raxton, District 3.
All right, I like the whole name, the whole government name there.
All right, I'm giving it
All
to
right.
you.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. I had the honor and privilege of being served by former Congresswoman Stephanie Tubbs Jones out of beautiful Cleveland, Ohio, where I'm from. So I knew her family. I knew what she went through. I knew what the family went through. So this is definitely very, very personal for myself. So I commend Commissioner Whitney Kenner Jones. I commend the women here for everything that you are pushing through for women's health care and for doing and bringing this awareness that needs to be brought forth. And anything that we could do on the county level, federal level, let us know. I also have a personal relationship with Representative Yvette Clark, so I will also be in her ear and asking what I can do to help advocate on your behalf as well. So again, thank you for being here, and Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Raxton. Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
And my words will be just look at God. Just look at God. We've all been touched, and things have happened to many of us in this room and many of us, our families. All I'm just going to leave you with, just look at God. And God we trust. Thank you.
Yep. Amen. All right, with that being said, Board of Commissioners, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Please prepare to cast your electronic votes. Echo. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries, Board of Commissioners, with the voice of Commissioner Raxton. Oh, yes, we're gonna come down and take a photograph with you as well, so please. Thank you. All right, Board of Commissioners, that was amazing. Certainly it's an honor and a privilege to recognize Uterine Fibroid Month here in Douglas County and all over the nation as our women continue to deal with this chronic problem that's causing us to stay up at night. So with that being said, Board of Commissioners, we're going to pivot back to the item on the agenda, adoption. It was my understanding that the motion to fail regarding before, when we voted to determine whether or not we could actually, should we remove it, that we wouldn't have the privilege of voting again or changing something on the agenda at the meeting. So that failed. So Commissioner Braxton, you have the floor. You were going to call a motion.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. I'd like to call a motion that we move items number 7, 12, and 17 from the consent agenda to the business items.
Okay, to new business items?
New business items, yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, we have a motion and a second on the floor to remove items 7, 12, and
17.
And 17.
Yes.
Do we have a motion and a second? Any discussion, Board?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Vice Chair, you have the floor.
Do we have anybody here from IT to speak on item number 17? All right, I just asked that question, Madam Chair. I yield back.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I can, in regards to 17, some of the questions I have are with legal, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the same also for item number 7? Because I don't see anybody here from juvenile programs either.
No, item 7, I would need someone from juvenile program.
We're not here.
No one's here? Okay. So, Madam Chair, let me amend the motion then.
Okay.
I'd like to amend the motion that we pull items number 12 and 17 from the consent agenda to new business items.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Board? We have a motion and a second. Please indicate by raising your right hand if you approve to remove. Okay, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries for those two items to be removed. Number 7 and 17, was that 7?
12 and
12 and 17 will be moved to new business. Okay, with that being said, I believe I'll yield the floor to you, Madam Clerk.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we have the financial report. So we'll just need a motion to approve the financial report for the month of June 2025.
Okay, Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to accept the monthly financial budget report for the month of June 2025?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Board? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your electronic votes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries, Board. Okay, Madam Clerk?
Okay. Next, we will start with the items that we removed from the consent agenda. So we'll start with number 12.
And you
Approve-
have number 5. Okay, that's new business. Okay, you have the floor. I'm sorry.
Okay. Approval of change order number 1 for UES for the Fairburn Road Senior Center new build project for special inspections in the amount of $70,000 to be funded by 2022 SPOS funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending
We're gonna
final
come to
legal
that.
review.
We're gonna come to it. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So I just had a question in
Okay,
regards
you
to.
have a question first?
Yeah,
Okay.
And I guess the question, I'm not sure, do we have anyone from that office here that could address?
As a point of order, County Legal, do we need the motion first so then we can discuss it? And
Yes.
if that is the case, Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve agenda item number 12.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion, Board?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, you have the floor, Commissioner Raxton.
All right, I know yesterday, this particular item, we had a line item amount for $60,000, and it was verbally indicated that it will be increased to $70,000, but the backup documentation does not necessitate, or I do not see that $70,000 supported. I see change order request for $58,470. So just want to confirm, what is that final figure?
County Administrator, could you speak to that if you could?
Yeah, I was not aware that it was, I thought the amount was 60,000 myself. I think we were rounding, or if there's anything over that, I would ask the board that we go back to the $60,000. I think that's the appropriate number.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Madam Chair, you have the floor back to you.
Okay. We have any other discussion?
So, in that case, Madam Chair, I think I would like to withdraw my motion.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second to withdraw. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand to withdraw the motion. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries to withdraw. Do we have a new motion to come before?
Sorry. Yes, Madam Chair. I'd make a motion to approve agenda item number 12, and it should read as approval of change order number 1 for UES for the Fairburn Road Senior Center new building project for special inspections in the amount of $60,000 to be funded by the 2022 SPLOST funds, and authorize chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion at this point? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. Okay, Madam Clerk, you have the floor.
Okay. We'll move to the previous number 17, which is approval to enter into a professional services agreement with AJ Rim and Associates, Inc. in the amount of $50,000 for the implementation of Douglas County Artificial Intelligence policy and training to be funded by the IT department's budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion? Do we have a motion?
Well, I guess I have a question, so.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve agenda item 17.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion, Board?
Yes, Madam Chair.
You have the floor, Commissioner Raxton.
All right, thank you. So I just want to maybe ask legal. I know that we've had a chance now to review the proposal in response, and given the sensitivity of this particular item, I do have numerous questions based on the proposal, and didn't know if it was proper to have that open conversation in this form, or is that something we need to be conduct in executive session, given again the sensitivity of this particular item?
I don't know that it would be appropriate for it. It's a consideration, I guess. But without knowing what the concern is, I really wouldn't be able to speak to that. I will say I've not had an opportunity to review it. But that's certainly something that we do. A part of the approval process is review everything in its entirety. What I can speak to is in terms of the AI policy as I understand it and the goals therein, because there's not a lot of regulation regarding AI. It's fairly new in terms of its uses, but it shows up in various aspects that people don't think of. You can utilize it in Microsoft Word now, in various search engines, it pops up. And so, right, the goal is to ensure that the information, any sensitive, proprietary, confidential information is not utilized because we don't know where that information is stored, and it may lose some of its confidentiality. So it would be important, I think, to put something in place with respect to that to guide the county.
Okay. So I guess just to confirm then, and again, I'm also looking at this from potential cybersecurity, and I know that is one of the areas that is discussed as part of executive session. So again, I'm not trying to go in here hurting details with some of the questions, given the sensitive nature of this item. Just want to get your steer on, is this something that should be discussed as part of executive session versus public forum?
I mean, it certainly could be covered under cybersecurity. If you believe that there are sensitive information and confidential information unique to the county that needs to be discussed, then I would say that it would be more appropriate to discuss that in a confidential forum. But again, I don't know what you're intending to delve into with respect to that.
Okay. Thank you. And then maybe I can ask the county administrator, is this a time-sensitive contract that we're aware of?
I believe, again, this is being brought forward at the request of your colleagues. So we've expedited at the direction of the board to move forward with this agenda. So I think that question is better answered by the chair or by the chair.
Okay. So I guess let me rephrase it then. Is this contract with AJ Rim time sensitive? Because I see an initiation date that is in the past already of July 14th. So again, just want to ask the question.
When you said initiation date,
In the proposal here, in the document itself.
should the date be changed or to comply
Is
with
this a
today's
time-
date? Yeah.
Do we have a time sensitive that we have to meet a certain date and execute this contract today? Or agree to make a decision today?
No,
on
it
this
doesn't
contract?
necessarily have to be done today, but we do have a timeline by the end of the year.
Okay.
And we're trying to take the lead on,
Sure.
on this AI policy per federal government regulations and requirements so we could continue to receive federal funding. And certainly would like to commend Commissioner Kenner Jones, who met with the officials in Washington, D.C., and they rolled this information out. She brought the information back to me, briefed me, and I executed immediately with administration so we can make sure that this is brought forth. So right now, I believe Douglas County will be leading the charge on this initiative if we get it out the box today. AI is certainly new to all of us, but it's something that Washington, D.C., or should I say the federal government is requiring. And certainly you can add, if you would like, Commissioner Kenner Jones, to the requirement.
That summed it up
That's
perfectly,
it?
Madam Chair.
So you have, you may add, did I answer your question?
You did answer the question, and I guess, again, I do have other questions based on what's in the RFP or the proposal. I'll yield the floor, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Let me offer this to the extent that there's some concern that there's some sensitive, I'm not aware of what it is, but given that it's sensitive, you could table, which would be appropriate. We would bring it back up at the end of the meeting. You could go through the rest of your items. We could go into executive session. If it is confidential, then it would be discussed there. If it's not appropriate, we can bring it back and discuss in the appropriate forum.
Okay. Sounds good.
Executive session?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll hold off on this item, but we will call a motion to table. Commissioner Raxton, would you call a motion to table or either?
Do we have a motion on the floor now?
Yeah, okay, who? It was-
Madam Chair, I make a motion to rescind my prior motion.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
We have a second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion to rescind? Board of Commissioners, we have a motion and a second to rescind. Please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries to rescind the motion, the initial motion. Do we have a new motion to table?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to table item number 17 until a determination is made if we need to go into an executive session.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor to table to allow us to go into executive session. Please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. All right, so that item is tabled for now. Madam Clerk, you have the floor.
Okay. Our next item under business is number 5, approval of a contract renewal with Malden and Jenkins for 2024 auditing services in the amount of $93,000 to be funded through general appropriations for general fund, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve a contract renewal with Malden and Jenkins for 2024 auditing services in the amount of $93,000 to be funded through general appropriations for the general fund, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion, board?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. Commissioner Braxton, you have the floor.
All right, CFO, maybe we have some open questions. I'd like to continue the conversation that we had yesterday. And also, if we have representation from Malden and Jenkins here. If you could please approach the podium.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
If you could introduce yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
Please.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, my name is Ryan Jones. I'm with Malden and Jenkins, based out of our Atlanta office, and we are the financial statement auditors for Douglas County. And I understand that you have some questions for us tonight. I'm happy to answer. Also want to just state that we really value the relationship that we've built with the county, and we just want to say thank you for your business.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So thank you for being here. Thank you. I understand with short notice, but it was pretty important that we have representation here to answer some of the questions that I know I had, and I'm sure maybe some other fellow commissioners also have questions as well. So the first question I have, reviewing the initial contract, there is a scheduled professional fees and expenses for the 2023 audit. Do you have one for the 2024 audit available?
I believe that was part of our proposal that was done last year for a 5-year period, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure exactly what you're looking at.
So it's on item 9. It says audit costs and proposed fees, and in here is for the $90,000 for 2023. And just wanted to see if we have that detailed breakdown for 2024 for the $93,000.
So once we get past the proposal phase and we get an agreement for a certain number of years, all of our written contracts after that are just engagement letters where it's a lot of standard language talking about auditors' responsibilities, county responsibilities, and really at the end there's a fee paragraph, and that's where we just state the total fees that we'll be charging for the audit of 24.
Right. So I guess just to get a better understanding, what changes or what necessitates the increase?
So when we proposed for a period of 5 years, those fees were set for a period of 5 years. And I don't have it with me, but the $93,000 is what I understand we proposed to charge for the fiscal 24 audit.
Okay. All right. So I guess you understand what my line of question is. What changes from 23 to 24?
Our fees typically go up when we do a multi-year proposal. It's not going to be flat for 5 years. Inflation, increases in prices. I mean, we typically will increase that rate steadily over the period of the contract.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. So let's talk about the 2024 proposal. And where are we with that? We had a conversation yesterday in regards to our target completion date by the end of August. And I want to just kind of get a understanding of what's your thoughts on that and what is your feeling of, are we going to hit that date? What is your confident level that we would hit the end of August, knowing that the audit should have been completed at the end of June?
Sure. My best estimate as far as where we're at percentage complete for the 2024 audit is about 70%.
Okay.
So things will come up in the review process. There's some audit items that the county's still working on. So, depending on what that looks like when we get it, there could be more questions. So, as far as my comfort level, I think that we can be done with the audit from the county's perspective in, I would say, no later than the end of August is my best estimate. It might take a little bit longer for us to just complete our concluding procedures and actually get the final report delivered to the county. But I think as far as our testing of the balances, our testing of the numbers, us getting comfortable that we can issue an opinion on the financial statements, I would expect that would be no later than the end of August and hopefully sooner.
Okay. So with that said, when do we think we will have the actual final bound version of the audit that will be submitted to the county?
It would be approximately 2 weeks after we complete our audit procedures.
Okay. And we think that the audit procedures will be completed by the end of August? Just want to confirm.
I can't promise that, but I think that that's reasonable at this point, based on my review of the file and where I understand my team is at the moment.
Mm-hmm. All right, and just to give you an idea of the ramifications, there are some financial ramifications for being late.
Absolutely.
And, you know, we just want to get it aired out here. What does that look like? So we will have a better understanding. So, you know, what does that looks like from a timing standpoint, and how much farther behind we're potentially forecasting for completing that. So let me ask you this, for the 2023 audit, just curious as far as, and again, I will, you know, love to have this as part of the Finance Committee report moving forward, any open audit findings, and to assure that those open audit findings are being addressed. So again, I'm going to ask the team to make sure that we please have that moving forward in 23. I don't know if there is any still open in 22, but again, I think it's critical that we have visibility to that as a board.
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to come present the results of the 24 audit. I'm not sure how valuable it would be at this point, but if you wanted me to present on the results of the 2023 audit, I could do that also.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Is there anything else that you would like to share to the board in regards to the auditing process? Any concerns, any constrictions, any constraints that you want to make sure we have visibility and awareness of at this time?
Absolutely. So I wanted to just take a couple of minutes and go through the recent history of the county's audits. This won't take too long. So given that the fiscal year end is December 31st, your reports should be submitted by the end of June of the following year. So in 2019, our report date was June 19th of 2020, so that was well within the 6 months. That was issued on time. 2020 was about a month and a half past the deadline. The fiscal 22 audit was issued in August of 2021, so a little bit past that June 30th date. Once we got into 2021 is when we started experiencing some significant challenges in completing our audit procedures. I believe you can attribute that mostly to turnover here at the county. So the December 31st, 2021 audit was not issued until November of 2022. The December 31st, 2022 audit was not issued until June of 2024. So that is, you know, almost a year out from when that should have been submitted both to the state and to GFOA for your Act for Award. The 2023 audit, we started in August of 2024, and we were on site for a week, maybe a couple of weeks, and it became pretty clear that the county needed some more time to put the audit deliverables together. There were accounts that needed to be reconciled, still a lot of work. So we came back, I believe in December, January of this year, and the 2023 audit was finalized in May of 2025. And so now, currently we're working on the 2024 audit. The county did need a little bit of time between the issuance of the 2023 audit and the start of the 2024 audit, just to make sure all the numbers closed, to give the county, again, some time to put together the audit, our audit requests, get accounts reconciled. But we did start that audit in about mid-June this year. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, I mentioned we're about 70% complete. You know, we hadn't even started the prior year's audit a year ago at this time. So I think CFO and his team have made a lot of progress as far as being in a position to respond to our requests and get us the information that we need. And, you know, once we get this audit issued and finalized, I'm really looking forward to starting our planning for the 2025 audit in December. we'll come in February or March, do the audit procedures and get those issued by June of 2026 to get the county back on track with issuing timely audits.
Okay. Well, thank you for that overview. I think that's definitely very good and very helpful for the board to hear. So what I'm hearing is that 2025, end of June, we should be good to go to have the audit, to meet the deadline for the 2025 audit.
I'll let the CFO speak to that. I would assume if the same team is in place and processes don't change, I don't see any reason why the team that's intact now could not provide us with what we need to complete the audit in a timely manner for the 2025 audit. It's always our goal to issue our 12/31 audits no later than June 30th. June 15th is better. We don't like bumping up against that deadline too much. And I think the county is certainly capable of it with the current makeup of the staff.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the input. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other questions for Mr. Ryan Jones? Okay, Commissioner Kenneth Jones, you have the floor.
So, for the 2023 audit, am I understanding you correctly? You all came to start the audit, but then were not able to do so?
We started the audit last August, and I remember because I came out and met the CFO at that time, and I believe we were here for a week, maybe two, and we had to essentially pull out of the field just because there wasn't really enough to keep the team busy and working through the requests. And it was, again, it was clear that the county needed some more time to work through some of the accounts that needed to be reconciled. And I think capital assets were a big one, grants, things like that.
Were those new accounts from previous years, things that the county had not experienced in the past?
I can't speak to specific grants, but I mean, the county has had grants every year and capital assets as well.
So how long was the delay between the 2 weeks that you all were here and then the proper documentation being provided to you to complete the audit?
I think we were substantially able to resume our audit the early part of this year in January.
So 10 months?
January of 2025. Well, go from August of 24 to January of 25, about 5 months, 4 months.
Okay. And so were you all seeking reports or updates during the 5-month period? What's, I guess, your notice process that you're still out of compliance and the audit can't be completed?
We stayed in touch throughout that period. And then once January rolled around, I believe CFO and his team reached out and they felt comfortable that they had enough for us to finish our procedures on the 23 balances.
I guess whose responsibility is it? Is it the auditors or is it the county to ensure that we are federally compliant with those timelines?
I'm not sure what you mean by federally compliant.
Or by the state statute law, whatever it is that is governing how soon your audit is due. Whose responsibility is that? Is it the county's or is it the auditing company?
It's a combination of both. I would say, ultimately the responsibility to be audit ready and prepared for an audit is on the county, and then it is our responsibility as auditors to complete our audit procedures timely.
So what steps are in place now to make sure we're not in that situation again in the future?
From my perspective, just getting this 2024 audit completed, and again, where we're at now, and let's assume we can finish by August, that really only puts you 2 months out of compliance for the 2024 audit. The county will then have from August until February, possibly March, whenever we come back to audit the 2025 balances, to do the same reconciliations and put the same audit support together for the 2025 numbers that they did for 24 and 23. And again, just with the dates that I mentioned, the county has just been in almost a continuous audit cycle for about 2 years now. So they've worked out a lot of the kinks. A lot of what I've seen come through already for the 2024 audit compared to what we were looking at a year ago for the 2023 audit is much improved, and it's much easier for us to work through, and I'm anticipating that there should be fewer audit findings as a result.
So from August to January, how many times did you all reach out to the county for additional documentation or updates so that you could get the audit completed?
I'm not sure. It was several times. I can check my emails and get back to you.
Yes, please. So if we're the other thing is, I'm not sure if you were here during public comment, but the young lady said that we are no longer able to request extensions. Is that true?
You can request extensions from the state, to my knowledge. I don't know that they're going to approve them.
Is that specifically for Douglas County, or is that for any municipality?
That would be true for any municipality.
So has there been anything placed specifically in reference to Douglas County that our audits extension requests will not be granted?
I would not be privy to that information.
And you're saying that you think we're already going to be 2 months behind. Why?
So the 2023 audit was completed in April of 2025, and the county needed some additional time to put responses to the audit request together for 2024. And so within about a little less than 2 months from us completing the 2023 audit, we started the 2024 audit. And starting in mid-June of 2025, an audit of a county this size takes several months at a minimum to get completed and issued.
And so how far out of compliance are we for 2024?
The deadline would have been June 30th to submit to the state.
And were there notices, I guess, from the audit company or from you all to the county to expedite the documentation information to make sure that you all could get your scope of work completed so that we did not miss the June 30th deadline?
For 2024?
Mm-hmm.
It was understood starting in mid-June of
Understood by who?
2025 between myself, Malden and Jenkins, and the county that starting an
I want
audit.
a specific, who had the understanding? So is that the CFO? Is that the county administrator? Is that the finance team? Specifically, who had that understanding?
I would venture to say that the CFO understood that if we were not starting the audit until June of 2025, we were not going to finish the audit in June of 2025.
And do you all provide any recommendations or best practices for entities that are having issues getting documentation to you? And if so, what are those?
There's lots of informal conversations, and there are also audit findings, and we also issue a management letter with observations that we have that don't necessarily rise.
Who does the management letter go to?
It goes to management of the county.
At the company, not at the county.
No, at the county. Yeah, it's from us to management of the county.
And can you describe what is in that letter?
It's recommendations. It's observations that we make and recommendations for improvement that are not necessarily audit findings that need to be reported.
Can you give me an example? I'm not in finance. I'm not an accountant, so a little bit of clarity would be helpful for me.
A general example, sometimes we'll recommend that instead of accounts being reconciled annually, that they be reconciled maybe quarterly or semi-annually.
Is that a process that's been implemented here, to your knowledge?
That was just an example, and it was not specific to Douglas County. I do not recall.
CFO O'Shea, do you know any of the recommendations that were provided back to the county?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioner. Mr. Walker. Off the top of my head, I can't remember if there was a specific recommendation regarding reconciliation.
Did you guys receive any recommendations from Malden and Jenkins?
Yes, we did.
What were they?
Can't remember off the top of my head.
Do you have it in an email or a print off?
We can get you the printout.
Can somebody go and get that, please?
You have a recommendation on computer?
Yeah, our deputy CFO is here as well. She has the information.
You don't have a book for the management?
She has a computer.
Do you want me to pull up the Africa? It's not the book, the management rep. Okay, I can pull up the email. It's not, this is a presentation letter. This is
And
the
while you
management
have your
representation.
emails there, can you let me know how many times Malden and Jenkins emailed the finance department for updates or any information?
Can't do that. We have to go to archives of email. Correspondence was back and forth in terms of what's required and if resources are available for what was submitted. So we weren't keeping tabs of, you know, this is how many times they requested information, quote and unquote. I'm not sure exactly what you're looking for. Could you please clarify?
I just want to know how many times that they reached out to the county with an audit that was almost a year past due.
Oh. I think.
And I asked that question because I think it would assist me in understanding what efforts would have been reasonable at that point from a county perspective to provide assistance for us to fast track or get in compliance. If they're consistently reaching out, as the gentleman has mentioned, but if we're not either giving appropriate resources to the finance department, if we don't have the appropriate level of staffing, if there are constitutional officers that perhaps a writ of mandamus needs to be filed to require them to give us the documentation that they are constitutionally required to provide us so that we can get our audits completed and done, I want to know what of those steps were being taken. So if it's an email that you got one time, okay, maybe you didn't know. If it's something that they're sending on a monthly basis, this is still out of compliance, then we need to do an assessment about whether or not our strategy was appropriate at that time.
I hesitate to say, but it was really all of the above.
Okay.
It was all of the above because, as I indicated to y'all yesterday, the turnover rate and the staff shortage was enormous during that time. And specifically, if you notice, he indicated a specific time period that they were temporarily on field for a short while and resources weren't available. You mentioned when those kind of things happen, what mitigating circumstances or attempts did we make in, you know, mitigating the risk? And I talked about seeking consultant or outside help. A good example, we had one on board that would have been a controller from a, what you call temp agency. That person worked helping with the audit fixed assets for about 2 months or so. Didn't want the job, it was offered permanently, even though it was extremely expensive for us to keep them. And when you buy them out from a consulting firm, you have to pay the consulting firm out. Like I said, we've had some people like that. And said, no, I don't want the job. That was just the level of outstanding items, the complexity of the way the books were from accumulated challenges. Some were system-related, some were people that were previously there, things that just weren't done, that were being found and being rectified. As I told you yesterday, we just, in the past 7 months, had a deputy CFO, maybe 8 or 9 controller, and a couple more key positions. So you can see the timing as to when 22 was finished, 23 was finished. We were not ready for 24, and the other items, you had also delay in receiving things from constitutional offices. That are some of the findings. That's why I said it's all of the above. I wish it was as straightforward as you have put it, that we kept a tally of emails going back and forth. There are things that people could have done that would have taken care of it. Everything that could practically be done and within budget, even though we went out and said, give us money, the budget was amended, we got it, but you couldn't force hiring people and we couldn't pay the right salary. So we used what you call temporary agencies. Some of the temporary people were like, don't want the job. So that's the facts.
Did you have anything to add as well, Deputy Director? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, can I have
Okay.
the floor for a second?
Yes, County Administrator, you have the floor.
I think all of the questions that the commissioners are asking are clearly valid questions. But for context, because again, I know not everyone was here, from 2021 to 2023, this county had 3 CFOs that resigned. You had 2 deputy CFOs that resigned during that same time period. You had no CPAs on staff. At no point did you have a CPA on staff. We supplemented the staff where we could with CPAs to advance the work on some of the audits. Eventually, we were able to get that department now fully staffed at this point. And as a result, you see, and again, you can ask the audit, I think the process and things have improved at a pretty rapid pace that we should be able to get the audits done on time going forward for compliance purposes. But no county of this size can operate losing 3 CFOs and not having qualified staff in-house to be able to do the work that's necessary. At some point in time with that shortage, it was about making sure that payroll got paid and bills got paid, and we proceeded with the audit as quickly as we could. So I just wanted to make sure that context was provided.
So I guess my question then is, if we are already short-staffed, what was being done to stop the attrition of the employees that had been here for the 12, 14, 18, and 20 years from leaving?
Well, again.
And were any of them contacted to see if they would come back on a contractual basis, since they already had institutional knowledge of the county, and may have been able to fast-track some of that work?
I'm going to let the CFO, because
Commissioner, you asking excellent questions. Thank you so much. So what's been revealed as we've gotten the qualified staff and try to slow the bleeding down, a lot of the findings are the so-called qualified employees that you had on board that have left, that are being corrected and being fixed. That's why yesterday when the issue was coming up, I was like, just take a deep breath, right? Because there's a setting, and I'm not in the habit of let's point fingers. These are facts. The corrections and the magnitude of things that we're finding on a regular basis that need to be corrected as far back as needs to. And if it's technical, New World is no longer being supported. You're at the mercy of the Tyler Tech people to say, this is how the profile was in our fixed assets or our purchase order. We need these things corrected. And so we worked as closely as we could with the auditors. And like I said, just recently had experienced people that are helping to rectify a whole lot of these findings. So, yes, if the individuals were there that had the institutional knowledge, we wouldn't be behind 2-3 years audit. We wouldn't be having the findings that we have now. That's just a fact. One's notion of, it's subject to an individual's opinion as to, oh, we had the experience and we did all this stuff, and that was the case. The facts are bearing out now as to how far behind and a lot of the challenges and issues that are being revealed at this point.
Does our packet contain the separate report dated April 21st, 2025 that contains the report on material weaknesses in the county's internal controls? Do we have a copy of that?
Did the what now?
There's in the letter that was just provided to us, it says a separate report dated April 21st, 2025 contains our report on material weaknesses in the county's internal controls. Do we have a copy of that letter?
So that's what we call, in the accounting profession, a yellow book report, and that's going to be found behind your financial statements in your fiscal 23 ACFR, annual financial report. So it's a separate compliance report, and that's what's being referenced by that.
And if we could get a copy of that, I would appreciate it. Off the top of your head, CFO, do you know what the material weaknesses are, and are we addressing those?
Yes, Commissioner. Again, a couple of the big ones were constitutional office related. There might have been 1 or 2 grant related. CIFA report. I'm talking off the top of my head. Grant related CIFA report, constitutional office. You found something? Yeah. Year-end financial close. I think you asked on previously the scenario that the auditor gave you. Did they recommend quarterly or whatever? Again, that's back to what I was telling you. You had people that said they had the experience and were doing things. We were not closing. Now we got people we're trying to get caught up in closing and cleaning the books out.
And how many years have we been using Malden Jenkins?
So the first year that we did the county's audit was 2018. And we had a 5-year price agreement at that point, which was renewed for another 5 years last year.
And any of the issues that you identified from the previous employees that may have been contributing, are those errors things that should have been caught in previous audits?
Those errors were mentioned in previous audits. We actually pulled a sample as far back as 2019. Madam Chair saw it, of same finding repeated. Did I answer your question?
Yep.
And of recent, the way that I've addressed it, it was the responses were, obviously not adequate, or they wouldn't repeat it. And the challenge, and I'm referring specifically to one that's constitutional office area, is that not only can't you say the CFO should do this, and we shouldn't have been, I hesitate to say, but word salad in responding and giving that impression, because not only can't CFO rectify it, but BOC cannot rectify it. Constitutional officers have to be willing to come on board and work with us in order to rectify that specific finding, the example I gave you. So we're addressing it differently this year.
I understand, and I appreciate that. So then, I guess my final question is then, where does the buck stop? Because if these are errors that are mentioned in multiple audits, problems that were not being resolved and allowed to stack up, what process or procedure was put into place to rectify that so that we were not in a situation where we're a year past due for an audit?
This is not the reason why we're a year past due for an audit. The repeated audit, the repeated findings are beyond our control. The example I gave you, constitutional office. Now, we passed due for an audit because the staff on board that said they had experience and were doing things obviously fell behind 2 years' worth of audit and some other findings that we have. That's been rectified with the current staff, assuming we can keep that level.
And so were any of those people entities or agencies that we paid to provide a service and then that service was not provided? And if that is the case, what was done to go and get reimbursement to the county for services that were not properly rendered?
You're talking about another finding now, because that's correct?
Or I guess I'm talking in reference to you saying that this was from a staffing agency that said that they were qualified and the people did not produce on the work that they were supposed to be doing, which contributed to us being this out of compliance.
No, you misunderstood me.
Okay.
I said you mentioned yesterday that when we recognized that it's hard to fill positions, did we go to a staffing agency and seek help?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yes, we did. It's very expensive. We had a senior person level that was trying to help us out when we were short-staffed and trying to recruit permanently. That was there for 2 or 3 months. With the temp agency, we offered that person the job, and they said, no, don't want it, too much, too stressful, and quit. I gave you that example. In the middle of that, Deputy CFO also quit the job.
Who was the interim CFO then?
We had a deputy. Maybe she was acting. I don't know.
Commissioner, that would have been Suzanne Norris was our deputy CFO at the time. Prior to Suzanne, it was Ramona Bivens. Prior to Ramona Bivens, it was Lolita. Can't remember Lolita's last name. Grant. Prior to Lolita Grant, it was Jennifer Hallman.
And obviously, none of these people are still here.
Correct. Correct.
The last permanent CFO we had before CFO O'Shea left in February. It may have been February or March of 2023. Prior to that, the last CFO, the last deputy CFO and CPA left in 2022.
And I presume that these positions were open to national searches, or no?
I'm sorry.
I presume that these positions were open to national searches, or no?
Yes, they were all put out for searches.
Nationally or just locally?
I'm pretty sure they were national. They were advertised in GFOA, and all the relevant industry magazines, industry portals that we use.
Madam Chair, I yield back.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Kenna Jones. Any other questions forward?
Yeah, I got one more.
Okay. Commissioner Raxton?
Yeah. This is to our representative from Malden and Jenkins. When we miss the deadlines of June 30th, what happens?
Well, from our perspective, nothing much really. Obviously, the urgency increases. I know that when you miss deadlines with the state, you can have certain grants held up, certain state grants. They will no longer reimburse until the government or the county, in this case, is back in compliance. The county completes an act for, which, well, we had a copy up here, but it's beyond just a regular set of financial statements. It's a annual comprehensive financial report, so much larger than just much more extensive than just a standard set of financial statements. This gets submitted to the GFOA for the potential for the Certificate of Excellence Award. And once you're late several years, you're no longer eligible for that award. You can still submit it, but GFOA might deny you the Certificate of Excellence at that point.
Okay. So at that point, do you, as the external auditor, do you send up any types of bells, whistles, flags? Hey, we missed our deadline. This is out of compliance. this is what you will be potentially penalized by the state. Does that occur?
I don't typically have those conversations, no, as far as the financial ramifications on my clients if they miss a deadline.
So for $96,000, y'all don't send out a notice or an email, a letter, Skywrite send up smoke signals, text message, phone call that says that these are potential ramifications to you and your county if we do not get this audit in compliance?
So if the process of an audit is extensive.
I think
So-
we're past the process of
Yes,
an audit. That's a yes or no
Yes,
question.
yes or no? What has been the past practice? Has something been sent out?
Commissioners, just one at a time, please, one at a time.
Nothing formal, no.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine.
Okay.
All right, so let me ask this. Is there a notification to the state to say we are behind and we provide a proposed schedule of when we will become compliant? Is there any communication with the state of Georgia?
From the auditor?
From the auditors?
No, that is not our responsibility.
Okay. All right, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay. All right, any other questions, board? Mr. Jones, I just have a question for you. Thank you so much. No problem. Glad you were able to come out today.
No problem.
You mentioned if you could just reflect back on the 2021 audit. You said it was completed November 2022. I just want to make sure my notes were correct.
And I'm sorry, Madam Chair, you're asking about the 21 audit, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
The 2021 audit was completed in November of 2022.
Right, and it was due really June of 21, right?
No, it would have been due June of 2022.
Okay, June.
June
Okay,
30th,
so
2022.
It was a couple of months.
Correct.
Okay. It sounds like it appears that you have confidence in the new team that's here, the finance team. They've been able to provide you information under the general accounting principles that you're accustomed to in terms of how they're responding to you. Can you speak to this staff that's providing you information? Are you all alone on the same page, or are they understanding what your requests are at this time, or?
Short answer, yes. Longer answer, with the deputy CFO coming on board just as early as, it was early this year, I believe, January. She jumped, I think she might have had a couple days where she was not working on the audit, the 2023 audit, and she jumped right into that, and we have a very good working relationship. My audit team and the county finance team, and I think we've been able to provide some guidance to the county to help out with some of these big picture issues that were really slowing down the progress of the audit and preventing the county from being able to issue timely audits.
Yeah. And usually, I know Douglas County is not the only county that you conduct audits on. Certainly, I know that information is confidential. But the purpose of an audit sometimes is not to find everything correct. Your job is to make sure you find things that may be outliers that need to be corrected. But are we responding to you in a timely manner on those things that need to be corrected? I've had quite a few healthcare inspections, Joint Commission, you might have heard, and we respond. We call it corrective action. We take 30 days to respond. So that's not reflective of of our staff doing anything wrong. It's just, I'm just asking the question. Do you allow, what's the requirement? Is it 30 days to respond to those corrective action measures, or how does that work?
Sure. So when we write an audit finding,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see some in the back of the report here, there is several sections where management has the opportunity to provide a response. So that response is briefly set forth within the finding itself. We do not audit that response. And the only time that we follow up on that response is the next year's audit, because it's our responsibility to perform tests and conduct audit procedures to see if those findings still exist
Mm-hmm.
as of the end of the subsequent fiscal year. And if it has not been remedied, then it will show as a repeat finding, so on and so forth. That's really where our responsibility ends. It's up to to commissioners and city councils and school boards to look at those reports annually and work with finance to come together and solve some of those issues.
Okay, thank you.
You're
I have no further questions. CFO, you look like you wanted to add something. Thank you so much, Mr. Jones. Thank you.
Madam Chair, that particular question also clarifies something Commissioner Jones asked.
Okay.
And in terms of timeline and what's been done, when we provide the responses, like our auditors indicated, they also require that you designate somebody that, it's a key person that's responsible for implementing that response in a time frame, like an action plan. And so in some of it, to just be practical, depending on the magnitude of the problem, we will specify, or if we recognize that it's still something that's occurred because we're 2 years behind, this will probably not be rectified because it's a systematic problem until a year or the next couple of years from now. Mm-hmm. So it's in the audit book that you all have,
yes,
in terms of findings and responses and responsible, especially in this last 2023 audit, and the anticipated date, because we don't take delight in the fact that they come back and have the same finding by putting an unrealistic deadline on that, recognizing not just the staff, or again, if it's out of control of BOC, or you got to hire somebody, or it's a system-related issue, we provide as factual as possible a realistic timeline. So some of it may repeat, as you see here, that we are saying this will probably repeat in 2024, because we've already seen historical data and all showing that predecessors left information that way, and therefore the facts will bear fruit when the auditors come in.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, remarks, board? All right, thank you both so much. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Board, we have a motion and a second, and we've had our discussion. Please prepare to cast your votes.
Motion carries 3-2.
Okay, we have a 3-2 vote, and the motion carries. All right, Board of Commissioners, Madam Clerk, you have the floor.
Next, we have our consent agenda. We'll just need a motion to approve.
Okay, Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Do we have?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Clerk. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. Madam Clerk, you have the floor.
Yes. Next, we have approval of Commissioner Whitney Kenner Jones's reimbursable expenses in the total amount of $1,045 for the legislative conference.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve Commissioner Whitney Kenner Jones's reimbursable expenses in the total of amount of $1,045?
So
for
moved.
legislative?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. Please indicate by casting your vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. Next, Madam Clerk, I believe announcements next.
Yes, next
Okay.
we have announcements. I believe Wendy Cottle is here to make those announcements.
All right, thank you so much.
Ma'am,
Mrs.
point of order.
Wendy Cottle.
I believe we
Oh.
executive session because we got an item table.
Yes, I just tapped Madam Clerk up with respect to that we still had agenda item, I believe it was 12, that's still on the table.
Okay.
I believe there was some concern with respect to whether or not it was an executive session item. And so the appropriate categories that allow us to go into executive sessions, we know are real estate, litigation, personnel, cybersecurity. So I would just say and caution that the motion should fall within one of those categories. And then certainly, of course, if it's determined that it's not, we'd have to come back out.
Okay. Commissioner, you want to call the motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss one of the cybersecurity as presented earlier.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. Please indicate by raising your right hand to go into executive session. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. We will take a slight pause for the calls and we will be back momentarily.
They're not in there, I just checked. They're not in there. They're not, I checked. I checked with Tiffany.
So we can't stay here. We can't stay here.
We can go.
We can't stay in the executive session. They just gotta.
Oh, AJ, I'm so sorry. What did you say? Yes. Mm-hmm.